Money is a tool that provides us options and opportunities. It's about investing in your life so you can have the best quality of life. Black women are 5 times more likely to die during pregnancy because the doctors or the medical staff are not taking their needs and wants seriously. Our cancer statistics are higher. Our COVID-19 statistics are higher. Our diabetes, our stroke, our heart disease statistics are all higher.
Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing really well. I'm here with my gorgeous friend Ella of Ella Insures, and we're talking about getting your financial house in order today. He is a financial consultant and a bloody good one at that. And recently we put my cover in place, and I just wanted to share with you guys off the back of the last video I did more detail about getting your finances sorted in terms of protecting yourself. You guys will know her if you've been on my channel before. We've come leaps and bounds since then, and he is now a financial consultant.
I am, yes.
And she's focusing currently on Black and minority ethnic mothers and providing them with cover because you let them know, you tell them what's...
How can I? It's imperative. It is absolutely imperative that they have it, but not only because they are a mum, even expecting mums, because of their ethnicity and what they're prone to. You know, as a community, and I say we, even though I'm mixed race, but as a community, we are undereducated, underpaid, we're underseen, we're undervalued, and especially women combined with being from an ethnic minority, we're just
double disadvantaged,
undereducated in all aspects.
And when we're talking about house, we're talking about your financial house, and that really consists of
it consists of, you know what, it consists of everything. It consists of doing a regular financial review. It consists of having personal protection in place, life insurance, critical illness, income protection. There is definitely obviously still a stigma, especially across the sort of BAME community, that, oh, you know, life insurance, but we don't get a return. I'm paying for something for nothing. It's morbid to speak about death. But actually there are so many benefits, whether we want to speak about them or not, by having cover in place. And there's more cover that actually exists while we're alive than there is in death. Okay. So, you know, your health and your life is your #1 asset. Take care of it.
Now that you're a mum, you understand firsthand the necessity to have cover in place for protecting your children.
Yeah.
Should in case, like, and again, like you said, our community thinks that talking about death is morbid, but realistically, it's about having the protection in place to ensure that your children and your family, if you don't have children, are not left in the gutter.
Absolutely. If you are a parent goes beyond parenting in life. You can continue to parent in death. And so, God forbid, if any of us were to pass away, it's just making sure that our children don't have to suffer at the end of the day. You know, there are financial responsibilities, and, you know, taking my partner out of the equation, let's just say, you know, there was someone else that would have become my son's guardian if I was no longer with us, whether that be my mum, parents, grandparents, whatever that may be. What does raising a child look like financially for them? And for something that's so small, in relation to my income, my annual salary, and my core expenditure, disposable income, for something so small, I'm ensuring that my child is not going to be a burden on anyone else financially. Yeah, of course they will love him, but how can they manage to maintain his lifestyle if they don't have the finances available to them? And if I've got cover in place, I don't have to worry about that.
Ella actually put my cover in place a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to discuss with you guys what I had, and Ella's best to do that because I trust you, so I listened to everything. I went, great, time me up. But understanding that for me, acquiring a home, having an asset, and understanding the difference between just being able to just die with nothing to give anyone, and then owning something, I wanted to be able to protect that once you spoke to me about the importance of it, and
absolutely,
yeah, maybe to make that easy for people to understand. How do we break that down?
So essentially, when you have an asset, there's 2 ways in which you need to look at it. An asset is only an asset once it becomes cost-free, once there's no liability. So if you are a homeowner with a mortgage, you have to think about, You know, I've worked hard to acquire this property, and if anything was to happen to me, I want it to remain an asset. So who's going to take over the financial responsibility? Who's going to take over the upkeep of maintaining this property if there's still a mortgage to be paid? If you've got a 25-year, 30-year term, and you don't have any mortgage cover in place, essentially what you are doing is putting a lot of pressure on yourself to have that mortgage paid off as soon as possible to avoid anything happening to you and others not having to take over that financial responsibility. By having cover in place, what you're saying is, if I pass away, my mortgage gets paid for outright, and that as an asset gets passed over to my next of kin.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wait, so let's just say I have, for numbers' sake, 100,000 left to pay on my mortgage.
Yes.
And then something happens to me.
Yes.
The mortgage cover will pay the entire
balance of the mortgage. And there is even things that certain providers offer, which is called mortgage guarantee, which means, of course, naturally we tend to remortgage. We might take out like a second charge loan on the property, extra funds, etc. Where you have mortgage cover with mortgage guarantee, it means irrespective what the final balance is of the mortgage, the provider will pay it outright.
Wow.
So you may have put in place cover for 100,000, but now actually what you owe is maybe 125. With mortgage guarantee, they will pay the 125.
Even if you just took the policy out?
Absolutely.
A couple of weeks ago?
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer.
You get cover from day one. And this is the thing as well, us as a community, these are the things that we need to put in place, because essentially, you know, we've had to work so much harder. The black community has had to work so much harder. As I said, we are underpaid. We're in the lowest income quintiles of all of the ethnicities within the UK. So if we are fortunate enough, and I don't want to say fortunate enough because we're deserving, but, you know, if anyone's fortunate enough to acquire a property, take care of it, essentially, and put in place.
Make sure it remains in your family.
That's the thing, because then not only are you getting the benefit of it, you bought it as an asset, and as we know, assets are long-standing items that carry wealth. So what you're then doing is you're passing on generational wealth. You're changing the narrative for your children to come, or for your family, whoever is then to take it over. You know, you be the one person in your family. If you're the first person in your family to acquire a property, then be the first person in your family to pass that generational wealth on and change the narrative moving forward.
Oh, give me goosebumps. COVID-19.
Yes.
What do we need to do, health insurance wise?
So there are two types of health insurance. You can have both private healthcare and you can have critical illness. If you are, and the research proves it, if you are more susceptible from any type of illness, whether that be cancer, stroke, diabetes, any of those things which the BAME community are more susceptible in being diagnosed with, then you need to have at least critical illness cover in place. Essentially what it is you get diagnosed with critical illness, the provider gives you a lump sum, tax-free compensation. A lot of people will sometimes turn around and be like, yeah, but we have the NHS, what do I need that money for? You need to be able to pay your bills. If you are taking time out for treatment, what does that treatment look like? Yes, the NHS is available, but we all know that the NHS is understaffed and underfunded. Black women are 5 times more likely to die during pregnancy because as a community, they are assumed to have a higher pain threshold, which is why they do not receive the immediate care. So therefore, how can you expect doctors, GPs, consultants, etc. to also look at you and your ailment and your illnesses to then also take that seriously? If we already know that there's other situations going on where, you know, black women are dying because the doctors or the medical staff are not taking their needs and wants seriously. So get yourself covered. It puts you in a position where you can then pay for private healthcare. You may need to make home improvements. You know, you may need to buy a new car. You may need to just take time out to get your mental state back to its optimum level. And whatever that may be, traveling the world, going shopping, whatever it may be. Money is a tool that provides us options and opportunities. And that's what the fund should be used for. It's not just about having, oh, I got 50K in the bank. No, it's about investing in your life so you can have the best quality of life.
The recent news of Nicole passing away and her unborn child passing away, it's tragic. If Nicole had cover in place, what would that look like for her family versus not having cover in place?
So I think first and foremost, if we sort of answer the negative connotations, of course, life insurance can never bring back a life, essentially. And so it's not even saying that by having cover in place, this could have been avoided. But what does cover then do in the event of someone passing away? It basically gives relief to her family. As we know, finances and mental health go hand in hand. So imagine you've just lost a loved one and now you have the added stress of thinking, how am I going to lay that loved one to rest? As a community as well, you know, we don't just do things by just paying for the funeral and then ta-ta. We like to we celebrate the celebration of life, exactly. And, you know, these days, the cost of living is going up, the cost of burying is going up. They go hand in hand. So essentially, it's just not having to worry about those stress. But you know, something is actually even more than that. As a community, we need to be looking at how we can invest in each other. And that doesn't even just mean spending while we're alive in black businesses. That means saying, you know, God forbid, if anything happened to myself, I would think my partner is going to be upset. My parents are going to be upset. If I've got life insurance, take those funds, don't only lay me to rest, but I would hope that whatever stress and pain and anguish that you guys are going through, take that money and go and get mental therapy, go and get help. Do you know what I mean? Take that money and invest in yourselves so you guys can then continue to be the best versions of yourselves, even in spite of my death. And that is a way in which we can invest in our community. What we're saying is we appreciate we're going to go through pain, hardship, turmoil. We appreciate that our cancer statistics are higher, our COVID-19 statistics are higher, our diabetes, our stroke, our heart disease statistics are all higher. Well, what we're saying is I'm covered. If I do become one of those statistics, my family is now not going to become one of those statistics in terms of being broke, suffering from mental health,
acquiring your debt,
acquiring the debt, having to lose assets because they couldn't maintain assets. So yeah, investing in your community goes far beyond just buying into black businesses or you know, taking care of things in the event of someone's death. It's just basically saying there's some sort of financial relief in the event that this is going to happen.
Yes. In light of the recent BLM protests, you and I had a conversation about black lives and the rate at which they're being taken away. And if these lives were insured or had life insurance, let's say, the government would be far less, or the powers that be would be far less inclined to senselessly murder them because there is a price on their life.
Absolutely. I genuinely believe this wholeheartedly. If we look at the UK, the black community make up 3 to 4% of the population. So that means there is a whole nother 81% that is white. And as we know, if we take income statistics, 91%. Or if we take statistics, the highest earners in the UK, the white community make up over 40% of that. The black community make up barely 10%. If we look at the lowest income quintiles, the black and Asian communities make up over 60% of that. The white communities make up maybe like 30%. So at the end of the day, there's a financial factor here. And people will not take certain communities seriously because they don't have the money behind them to back them up. So essentially, if we're looking at the value of life as far as the government and political parties are concerned, well, if this community only has X amount of funds behind them and this community has X amount of funds behind them, we don't care about them, we care about these ones. And it's unfortunate that that is due simply just because of the colour of our skin. And so essentially, if we're saying that if this community has more value, more funds behind them, are they really going to want to continue to murder and kill, slaughter, whatever it may be, this community? No, because for every cover that is paid out, that's £100,000 for that black guy. That's 250k for that black woman. That's 600k for
the Asian lady who lives at the bottom of the street.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that is a lot of money at the end of the day. So, and if you think of it, insurance companies as well, they're like partners.
Let's explain what a partner is for anyone who's not West Indian, or I don't know if they do it in any other communities, but
I don't know. Yeah.
So a partner is a group of people or a community that come together and each pay in a set amount. So 1 week, thumb will pay in £20. The second week, index finger will pay in £20. The third week, middle finger will pay in £20, etc., etc. And then at the end of those 5 weeks, one person collects the money.
Yeah.
And then it goes again, and then this person collects the money.
And it's the same with life insurance. The way in which the businesses work, or any type of insurance, the way in which the businesses work is they rely on everyone paying into the scheme. So then that way, unfortunately, because obviously it's negative, but unfortunately when Joe Blogs requires the money, they've already collected this large pool of money that can then go to X, Y, and Z. And then you guys have all now been paying to the scheme, and now this person needs the funds, but they've collected all of this money that they can now give to that individual, but obviously it's just on a far, far, far larger scale.
The point of the matter is you should be investing in yourself in this way. And Ella is the person to talk to about this, especially if you are based in England. I know I have a lot of American followers, but for the purpose of this video, we're discussing the UK specifically.
Absolutely.
I took out my life insurance and my critical illness cover with Ella a couple of weeks ago.
Cover is tailored to clients' affordabilities at the end of the day. My thing is, I would rather you have cover in place that is affordable than have no cover at all. And don't go broke trying to pay your life insurance or your critical illness cover, because then what's the point? It's a long-term investment, and if you have the right financial advisor, they will sit down with you and say, okay, you're in a position, what are you in a position to afford? And they will tailor cover specific to your needs,
which is what he did for me. I think mine came to a total of 50.
Yeah, it was like
£50 a month.
Yeah.
If I break that down, like I said in the previous video, I cut my Apple Music subscription, £10 a month. That's already £10 I can pump into that. My gym membership, £28 a month. There we go. We've already got £39 now. It's so simple. One meal out. One meal at a decent restaurant at this point in time can cost you upwards of £30. So it's small sacrifice in the short term to be able to keep assets in your family. To be able to, if you get sick, you have your income protected. So that's what I took out with you. I now have in place cover for, should I get sick or signed off from, I'm self-employed as well, bear in mind.
So you're not entitled to anything.
Right. At all. If I can't work for 6 months, the government don't give me nothing. I would have to go and sign on to benefits. Now, with what I have in place now, I'm guaranteed to be paid out £1,500 a month for the duration of your illness. So basically different terms and conditions of different providers, but essentially up to a year with that one particular claim, but you can claim multiple times on the policy. So there's no restrictions as to how often you get sick. Obviously, God forbid, we hope we don't. And remember, being signed off work as well can look like anything. Being signed off work is not only breaking your ankle, getting sick, being diagnosed with COVID-19, it's also your mental health, not being in a position to get up and physically go to work. So your income essentially is your biggest, I want to say asset, but it's your biggest opportunity. We leverage our time and skills and experience in order to receive an income. Your income pays for your home, food, etc. Everything that allows you to continue life. Where is the logic for me if it's not protected? And we all know how many jobs have been lost during this pandemic, and I really dread to think how many people didn't have any cover in place, regardless of their age, whether they are in their 20s or...
There were many. A lot of clients came to me after the event as well. And this is the thing. Getting cover put in place after the event is like crashing your car and then asking for car insurance. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately, but it doesn't work like that because they are still a business at the end of the day. But a lot of clients did come to me when COVID first hit and were like, I didn't have any cover in place. Is there something that you can do? And unfortunately, we can't. And obviously with Nicole, if she was the primary caregiver within the household, the one who earned the majority majority of the income, what that would look like, because there's different types of cover as well. And if you have a financial advisor in place, because there's a lot of cover that only financial advisors are in a position to offer, just because of the complexity in that it needs to be advised and explained. But if you take an individual as the primary earner within the household and they have cover in place, what they can have is cover that actually offers an income as opposed to a lump sum. So obviously her situation is a bit different, but let's just take, you know, mum, dad, child, and unfortunately dad passes away, and dad was the one that was earning 50k and mum was earning 20k. Naturally, their lifestyle, their household is not going to be in a position to sustain just on mum's 20k income. So by having a policy that pays out in the form of an income, dad's 50k, that will pay out a monthly income for the remainder of the policy, and which is usually until the youngest child turns 25. Because essentially what we're saying is by the time the children turn 25, they're independent. They no longer need to live off your income. And what that does again is it softens the blow. It means that, you know, we're used to being a combined household of X. Of course, now one has been taken away, so now we're only a household income made up of Y. The life insurance softens the blow, comes in as the buffer, and then provides an income even in the event of death as well, so life can continue.
So would the income protection cover the 50k that dad was bringing in yearly until 25?
Yes.
And for anyone that's already got existing insurance of any kind, E pointed out the other day on her Instagram, that I will link below, that every 4 years you kind of have like a life change. That could be a baby, you could have got married, you could have acquired a house. And having a 4-year review is something that you really recommend.
Absolutely. I think if you have gone through a significant change prior to 4 years, then absolutely review your cover. It's a great way just to remind yourself what you have, how long you've got it in place for, what you're paying, because how many times have we set up direct debits and we know what our total outgoings are, but we don't know what the breakdown of each of it is. So it's just a good reminder. But again, you know, you may have sold property, so you don't need as much cover, or sometimes you might even make the decision that you've sold property, so I no longer need the cover, but you've got intention to buy property again. It might be more cost effective to just leave cover in place until you then acquire more property in the future. And yeah, absolutely. Any significant life change, review your cover just to make sure it matches your needs and circumstances. Cover is in place to serve you. So unless you're reviewing the cover, how do you know it's basically doing what it's designed to do and still be meeting its original intention? I specialize in protection policies. So whilst we can review your expenditure, your budgeting, your savings, my main focus and priority is to make sure that you are adequately protected. Understanding your needs and circumstances, and then putting different policies in place that are relative to your affordability. So essentially I work with my clients, I work for them, and essentially I just understand everything that is necessary about their lifestyle and put cover in place to take care of those elements, to make sure assets are protected, health is protected, income is protected, and the future is protected.
Amazing. Do you believe it's important to be discussing finances more with your peers?
Absolutely. And I think this is the first step. I mean, I think because, and maybe it's racial inequality that sparked this off. I just had like a light bulb moment. Sorry. But, you know, we definitely don't want to speak about our finances amongst friends because we see one person in a position to buy a car and I can't. And we're so dictated and managed by our income and how we allow other people to perceive us as what's doing well and what's not doing well, that it then means we don't want to talk about it. But you know what? If you've got real friends, make your friends put you on. What was the blueprint? Share the blueprint with me.
Help me.
Help me. You know, and if you're in a position to buy a house, buy a car, and I'm still over here like trying to make ends meet, sit down with me, help me. You don't have to tell me necessarily what you're earning, but you can tell me the financial steps that you put in place to achieve what you achieved.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. Like for me, like they say you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
And I agree.
I agree too.
I agree.
Getting to this age, like we are in our early 30s, getting to this age and understanding the power of that and understanding the power in asking for help when you need it.
This is the thing.
And sharing knowledge. Like knowledge is not powerful when you keep it to yourself. I don't believe. When you have the knowledge, sharing it is the most fulfilling thing. Like if you are fearful that by you sharing knowledge that there's going to be less slices in the pie for you, you're doing it all wrong.
Absolutely.
Your mindset is wrong, and being tight like that will never serve you long term, I believe.
Essentially, it's just about making sure that you have in place what you need to essentially have your house in order.
And to thrive. What, just feel like Thanks to Ella. I'm going to leave all her details below so you can hit her up yourself. I highly recommend getting in touch because, as E keeps saying, everything is tailored to you. It's specific to your needs, to your circumstances, to your current health situation. And it's just one of the most adult, important steps that you can take to ensure that you and your loved ones and your assets and your health are protected in the best possible way. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And if anyone has any questions, leave them below. I will forward on to Ella and she will get back to you.
Definitely.
ASAP. All right. See you in the next upload.